everything on the subatomic level is made of pure electromagnetic energy. And that's why we're all interconnected. All right. And that's what people of faith have been telling us for thousands of years. We're all interconnected. And now we know they're right because of science. Yes.
And it doesn't make one more right or less right. It just means we're using it differently. Exactly. I would offer.
Exactly.
And have you found in the discussions that you have, and I know, again, going back to this amazing book, you break it down in a way that creates a bridge. And that's why I find it so valuable and so fascinating. It isn't science or spirituality or even that it has to be kind of in two separate camps. You come at it from such a heart-centered way of, okay, both have very valid points and it kind of bridges the gap, but it's more about how you use it to communicate then beyond just the barriers of what we know as humanity and the value that comes out of that. So can you dive a little bit into how you utilize this energy, this connection for the communication that you have, and even the technique that you came up with, the raft technique, which is brilliant and I love it.
Well, thank you. In the afterlife frequency, I introduce a lot of new terms to describe spirit communication. The reason I do that, Amber, is because in the 19th century, between, let's say, the 1840s all the way up to roughly the 1930s, that was kind of the golden age of spiritualism, which is where mediums were becoming very popular, particularly in the United Kingdom, in France, in the United States. That's why, you know, when you hear psychics talk about clairvoyance, clairaudience, clairsentience, those are French terms for clear seeing, clear hearing, clear knowing. And, but the terminology was developed in the Victorian era, and there it has remained. And I want to update things to explain it on the basis of 21st century science. And one of the key terms to understand in my book is the electromagnetic soul, the EMS. And that describes what we really are. And every person of faith, every great teacher of faith, whether it was the Hindu sages of India 5,000 years ago, through Zoroaster, through Moses, through Buddha, Confucius, Lao Tzu, Jesus, Muhammad, Native American spirituality, Gandhi, all the way up to today, has described that the soul, who and what we are, pre-exists the body, comes into the body, and then moves on after the body dies. And we know from the laws of thermodynamics and physics that energy is neither created nor destroyed, only transferred from one form to another. We know from the field of neuroscience, the study of the brain, that the brain has a complex, the most complex electrical field in the body. And so the electromagnetic soul describes what we really are, which is pure consciousness that is eternal electromagnetic energy. And that so when we die, your brain is like a drop of water. It doesn't, you know, it leaves the body and plunges into this ocean, this eternal sea of consciousness, which I call the collective consciousness. Your individuality, who and what you are, remains intact, but you can adjust your frequency to communicate with us in this world. So the reason I'm explaining this is because the EMS, and a lot of scientists are already using the term. It's such an honor, you know. And I heard, like, Dr. Gary Schwartz, who wrote the foreword for the book. He's head of psychology, parapsychology, physics, surgery at the University of Arizona. He's one of the chief afterlife researchers in the world. He wrote the foreword, and he calls me up and he goes, EMS, electromagnetic soul, I love it, I'm using it. And I was like, I was like, thank you, Dr. Schwartz.